Right now, as you're just sitting here listening, there are trillions of little microscopic scribes inside your cells just frantically copying instructions. It's a process that's happening every single second of your life. It's called gene transcription, and honestly, it's the fundamental secret to how your body builds, repairs, and just runs itself. Today, we're going to unlock how it all works.
But first, think about this for a second. The master blueprint for building you, your DNA, is locked away inside a vault in every single one of your cells. It's priceless. But the construction sites, the places that actually need those plans, they're all outside the vault. So how does the cell get the instructions where they need to go without ever risking the original? It's a huge design problem that life had to solve.
And the solution is it's brilliantly simple. Instead of moving that priceless original book, the cell just makes a quick, disposable photocopy of the one page it needs. That copy is free to leave the vault and deliver the instructions. And that simple idea, that act of photocopying, that's the absolute core of gene transcription.
So let's get a little more specific. That secure vault we're talking about, that's called the nucleus. It's fantastic for protecting our DNA. But the factories that build proteins, these things called ribosomes, they're all the way out in the main part of the cell. The instructions have got to bridge that gap, and that's where our little messenger comes into play.
And this brings us to the hero of our story, RNA. Yeah, if DNA is the master blueprint, then RNA is the working photocopy. It's a temporary, mobile message that's copied or transcribed from the DNA, and it's designed specifically to travel out of that nucleus and deliver its instructions to the rest of the cell.
Now, making this RNA copy, it's not a one-molecule job. Oh no, it takes a whole team, a whole cast of cellular characters, all working together with just incredible precision. So let's meet the key players in this little microscopic drama.
Okay, so first up, of course, you've got the DNA template. That's the original gene we need the instructions from. The star of the show, though, is RNA polymerase. That's our master copying machine. But it can't just start anywhere at once. It has to look for a special start copying here sign on the DNA called a promoter. And you guessed it, it knows when to stop when it hits a stop copying here sign called a terminator. And finally, you need ink for the photocopier, right? Well, that's where our building blocks, the nucleotides, come in.
Let's just zoom in on RNA polymerase for a second, because this thing is the real engine of transcription. This one enzyme does pretty much everything. It grabs onto the DNA, it unwinds that famous double helix, and then it just glides along one of the strands, reading the code and building a new, matching RNA strand, letter by letter. It's an absolutely incredible piece of molecular machinery.
Now, as this little scribe builds the new RNA strand, it's using a slightly different alphabet. 3 of the chemical letters are exactly the same, A, G, and C. But where DNA uses a letter called thymine, or T, RNA swaps in a different one called uracil, or U. So anytime the polymerase reads an A on the DNA, it sticks a U into the new RNA message. It's a small change, but it's a really crucial difference that helps the cell tell the master blueprint apart from the working copy.
So, we've met the team, now let's see how they all work together. The whole process of transcription can be broken down into 3 really clear logical steps: a beginning, a middle, and an end.
The whole thing is like a beautiful 3-act play. First up is initiation. That's when our polymerase finds the start signal and unwinds the DNA. Next is the main event, elongation. The polymerase just races down the DNA track, building that new RNA message as it goes. And finally, you've got termination. It hits the stop signal, lets go of the DNA, and releases the freshly made RNA copy out into the cell. And when I say it races down the track, I am not kidding. During that elongation phase, how fast do you think this tiny machine works? Get this, it adds about 50 new chemical letters to the chain every single second. That is just an unbelievable speed, and it makes sure the cell gets the information it needs right when it needs it.
But for a lot of organisms, including you and me, the process isn't quite done yet. The first copy that gets made is kind of like a rough draft. It's called pre-mRNA, and it needs a few rounds of editing before it's ready for prime time.
You know, one of the wildest things about our genes is that they're not written as one continuous instruction. The important parts, the actual code, are often broken up by these long stretches of what really just looks like gibberish. These filler sections are called introns, and every single one of them has to be snipped out before the message actually makes sense.
So this final polish happens in two main steps. First, a process called splicing comes in and snips out all those junk introns, and then stitches the important parts, the exons, all together into one coherent message. Then, to protect that message on its journey out of the nucleus, the cell adds a protective cap to the front and a long, stabilizing tail to the back. You can think of it like putting the message in a sealed, addressed envelope so it gets to its destination safe and sound.
Okay, so we've gone deep into the microscopic details here, but why does any of this matter? Why is this tiny, intricate process so important? Let's zoom way out and see how transcription is fundamental to, well, pretty much everything about who we are.
So why does it all matter so much? Well, by controlling which photocopies get made, a cell can decide what it wants to be when it grows up. A muscle cell and a brain cell have the exact same DNA library, but they choose to read totally different books. That's specialization. It's how you grow, how you heal, you get a cut, your cells start transcribing genes for repair. It's even how you react to things. That jolt of fear, that's your body transcribing the gene for adrenaline. Understanding this process is literally the key to everything, from the mRNA vaccines we've all heard about to futuristic gene therapies.
And because it's so fundamental to life, the stakes are incredibly high. I mean, imagine if that cellular photocopier gets stuck on the on switch for a gene that tells a cell to divide, or if it just forgets to copy a gene that tells it to stop. That uncontrolled copying is how some cancers can get started. The precise control of this process is truly a matter of life and death.
So, you see, transcription isn't just some boring cellular process. It's the language of life itself, and we as a species are just beginning to learn how to speak it. As our ability to read, to write, and maybe even edit this code gets better and better, the possibilities are just staggering. It really makes you wonder, what's the next chapter that we are going to write in the book of life?